Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verses 20 to 23, part 2. Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribrajakachaja Stuta Rasata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 20, verse 20 to 23, part 2. Yatro pramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivat manatmanam pashyanatmani tushyati sukhamatyantikam yattad buddhigrayam atindriyam vetti yatra nachaivayam stitaschalati tatvataha Yam ladva chaparam labham manyante nadikam tataha Yasmin stito nadukena gurunapi vichalayate Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samyetam yatro pramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaiva manatmanam pashyanatmani tushyati sukhamatyantikam yattat buddhiguyam atindriyam vetti yatra nachaivayam stitaschalati tattvataha yam ladvacha param labham manyante nadika tataha yasmin stito nadukena gurunapi vichalyate tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samhitam. So this is part 2 lecture. We are lecturing on the same verses. Translation: the stage of perfection is called trance or samadhi, when one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoyed himself to transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, it thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of great difficulties. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So last week we read half of the purport. It's a long purport, so now I will read the second half. In the yoga system, Srila Prabhupada comments, as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi, called sampragyata samadhi and asampragyata samadhi. When one becomes situated in the transcendental position by various philosophical researchers, it is called sampragyata samadhi. In the asampragyata samadhi, there is no longer any connection with mundane pleasure, for one is then transcendental to a source of happiness derived from the senses. When the yogi is once situated in that transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today's so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasures, is contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted to the siddhis or perfections in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If the yogis are attracted to the byproducts of yoga, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection, as it is stated in this verse. Persons, therefore, indulging in the make-show practice of gymnastic feats or siddhis should know that the aim of yoga is lost in that way. The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is not baffling. A Krishna conscious person is so happy in his occupation that he does not aspire for any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practice Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. But there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. As long as the material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, defending and mating. But a person who is in pure Bhakti Yoga or is in Krishna consciousness does not arouse the senses while meeting the demands of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessities of life making the best use of a bad bargain, and enjoys transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous towards incidental occurrences such as accidents, disease, scarcity, or even the death of a near and dear relative. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Accidents never deviate him from his duty. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Agamapaini nityastam titikshashva bharata. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows that they come and go and do not affect his duties. It is in this way he achieves the highest perfection in yoga practice. So we'll read the verse again, because these 3 verses are very important and very encouraging to anyone who practices spiritual life. The stage of perfection is called trance or samadhi, when one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So here Krishna, Prabhupada explains further in the purport, but Krishna basically says that our perception of reality, dealing with the senses, comes and goes. Arjuna, when he accepted Krishna as his teacher, when he was bewildered about the performance of his duty, actually Arjuna was faced with an extremely deep and terrifying dilemma. It was him and his family fighting for their lives, fighting for their very existence. And because of bodily identification, because he identified as a Pandava prince whose father was the emperor, and his empire was being stolen by his cousin brother, Duryodhana, because he identified with this mentality, he became bewildered. And similarly, if we identify with the body, if we identify with our family and our nation and our country and our planet, if we identify with our limited beliefs, we also become bewildered because we have no weapons to overcome these deficiencies. We are going to get old. We are going to die. Can anyone stop this? In our history, there has never been anyone who was able to overcome death. Death, as sure as death, there is no escape. And we know we cannot escape. And we also know that at the moment of death, everything is finished. Yet we think that somehow we will never die. And this is not only my opinion, that is the opinion of Arjuna's eldest brother, Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira Maharaj was a perfect king, perfect Kshatriya, perfect warrior. And once in the forest, when he was exiled in the forest by his cousin brothers, he had to answer some questions from his actual father, the demigod Yamaraj. Demigod Yamaraj was called by his mother Kunti Devi, and from the encounter between Yamaraj and Kunti Devi, Yudhishthira was born. So Yamaraj appeared before him in the forest and asked him some questions. And one of the most interesting questions that Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira was, "My dear Yudhishthira, what is the most wonderful thing in the world? Yudhishthira thought and he replied, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti iya yamalayam. That day after day, ahani ahani, bhutani, the living entities, human beings, day after day, they go, gachanti. Where do they go? Yamalayam, to the abode of Yamaraj, to death. When we die, we are taken to the planet of the demigod Yamaraj. And there, our activities in this life, which we have performed, are put on judgment. So every day, human beings are dying and going to the abode of Yamaraj. Then, those who are left behind, Sesha Ichanti, they desire Savaram, to be free from death. Kim Ascharya Taparam, he said, what is the more wonderful than this? That people are dying every moment. Our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, our friends, people die all the time. Now I am this year 80 years old, and practically every month, one of my old acquaintances, one of my old friends, I get the news that he died. It goes on. Yet people who are left behind are thinking that I will not die. Or they are pushing that thought away from their mind. They are acting as if they will not die. So this is the most wonderful thing. And Yamaraj agreed. This is the illusion. This is the Maya, or the illusion. Maya, what is not. What is not is that this body is not eternal. What is not is that if I identify with the body, I am bound up in the temporary activities of the material world. Therefore, Krishna immediately advised Arjuna that you are so distressed and confused about your duty, but understand that these sensual relationships, happiness and distress, being in a good situation or in a bad situation, they come and go. Matra sparshas tu konteya, tu. However, matra sparshas, that by the touch of the skin or by the activity of our senses, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, belly, genitals, these senses, Sitoshna sukha dukkada. They come and go just like the winter and the summer. Sita ushna, winter and summer, dukkha, they give you pleasure. Like in the winter time, taking bath in the river is very cold and painful. In the summertime, the same river, the same bath, the same water is very pleasing. Come and go. Matra sparsha stukonteya sitoshna sukha dukkada. They give you sukha, happiness, the senses, and they give you dukkha, distress. Agama apaino nityas. They are coming and going. Agama, going, apaino, coming. Anitya, they are temporary. Tam titishvasva bharata. Therefore, simply tolerate. It is already there. You cannot escape the pains and pleasures given to you by your destiny. With the moment of birth, you are given a certain amount of happiness and a certain amount of distress. If you tolerate the comings and goings of the senses and concentrate yourself in trying to understand your spiritual nature, you break this wheel of karma that has caused you to take birth in this material world. We are born in this material world because of previous activities. Therefore, not everyone is born the same. Some people are born in a wealthy family, they have no material difficulties, they have beauty, knowledge, wealth, and some people are born in a not so privileged condition. What is the reason? Material nature is exactly the same to everybody. It's not that the laws of nature only apply to certain people and not to other people. No. The entire material construct, the entire amalgamation of the laws of nature are equal to everyone. So why are we not born equal? Why do we start out our life in different situations? What is the reason? The reason is that there is a previous condition. Because of what we did in a previous life, we start off in this life at a certain point, forward or back. When we understand this, then we can actually realize that no matter what I do, I cannot escape from what is my destiny. But how we react to that destiny is critical, because if we react to that destiny in a negative way, we create more negative destiny. It is just like when a bird is caught in a net, the hunter, he puts his net between the trees, and the poor hapless bird, he flies into the net. And the more he struggles to get out, the more he becomes entangled. So in the same way, the more we struggle to counteract what is our destiny, the more we become entangled in further destiny. Therefore, Krishna says, Tam titikshva bharat. My dear Arjuna, just titikshva, tolerate what is coming and going. And engage your intelligence and your knowledge in understanding the self. Therefore, the senses are critical, because if you can control the senses, you can actually understand who you are. It is not possible to understand your position as a spirit soul and engage in illusory material activities. If we engage in illusory material activities, if we practice yoga to get a beautiful body or to get some association with the opposite sex, if we practice religion or some kind of meditation, some kind of transcendental activity to increase our material pleasure, to increase our material facilities, then we become more and more and more entangled. Entangled means more and more away from the understanding that Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. And because I am spirit soul, I have certain spiritual duties. I have certain spiritual prerogatives I can take into consideration in my life. Just like when you identify with the body, so many duties with the body come. Just like if this body is born in a particular country, then you identify as a citizen of that country. You require support from the community of that country. In the same way, if you identify with the spirit, then you participate in a community of spirituality. And it is there in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Puranas, in the Vedas, and in so many, every community on this planet, every human community has some kind of religion, some kind of scripture. In fact, it is an offense against Krishna, against the name of Krishna, to blaspheme the literatures which are called the Vedas, or those written in accordance to the Vedic version. Because from Krishna's point of view, we are not these bodies. He is within our body, and he knows we are spirit, we are his eternal servant. We are directly connected with him every moment of the day and night. So Krishna, he wants to understand this. I am the Nitya Krishna Das. Ke Ami, Sanatana Goswami asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? And Mahaprabhu replied, you are a spirit soul. Tatashta Shakti, or the marginal potency of Krishna. Nitya Krishna Das, eternal servant of God. Krishna Tatastha Shakti, Beda Habeda Prakash. You are one with God and you are different. You are one with God because God is your creator and God is our master and our father, our everything. And we are different from God because God is unlimited in his power and we are limited in our power. But the process of understanding this connection begins when we control the senses and when we live as spiritual beings. Living as a spiritual being means you accept your material position, Just like if you're being punished by the government, you're put into prison, the best course of action is to accept your punishment and agree to accept the punishment of the government, serve your prison term, don't give up your criminal mentality, so you will be allowed to leave the prison and you will not come back. Our criminal mentality is to think that this material world belongs to us, that we are independent. And this is called Mayavada, or the exclusion of God by calling him illusion, Maya. There is no God. I am God. I can do whatever I want. No one can control me. No one can tell me what to do. No one can put any rules or regulations upon me. And to do that, you have to exclude the authority above you. You have to exclude the authority of God. Therefore, when God comes, we do not accept him. Maya Vada. Maya means delusion, and Vada means philosophy or proposal. So the proposal is that even if God comes, he is not God. This is the Mayavadi philosophy. Last week we spoke a little bit about the Sat Darshan, or the 6 philosophies which are explained in Vedas. Veda means knowledge. If you study the Veda, you will get all kinds of knowledge. So the 6 darshans, or the 6 philosophies, darshan means to see beyond the senses, to see beyond the illusion of the material world, to see from within the prison house, to see their life and the activities, the society outside the prison. It's called darshan, to see. So the Sat Darshans, or the 6 philosophies, are basically all impersonalists. They negate the existence of God. But great sages in the past have studied the material situation and have formed these philosophies. Last week we spoke about Karma Mimamsa, which is very popular these days. And that's the philosophy, is that if you act nicely, then everything will be fine. If you act piously, then whoever is in charge, demigods or God or whatever, because you have acted piously, then he must give you the reward. In other words, your activities are more powerful than God. We may act piously now, but what about the impious activities which we have acted upon in previous lives? What about our propensity to act independently of God, which is ingrained in us and that brought us to the material world to begin with? How do we clean that up without the mercy of God? How does my heart becomes free without the mercy? You cannot do it. You cannot fully control your senses by your own practice. You require the mercy of God. There is a nice example given by Prabhupada that during the reign of Emperor Akbar, the very powerful Muslim emperor of India, he had one Hindu advisor, one minister. So one day a Brahmin, because these Muslims, they were very powerful warriors, but they weren't very advanced in philosophy, and therefore for their philosophical needs they would accept advice from the Brahminical culture in India, which was way advanced spiritually. And so he asked his minister, a Brahmin, he said, "My dear minister," forget his name, he said, "I am disturbed by sex life like everybody else. When will it end? When will I be able to be free from this desire to enjoy material sex?" So the Brahmin said, "Never. It will never go away." And Akbar was surprised. He said, "No, I cannot believe this. Surely, eventually I must become tired of it. Eventually I must become free. After all, I pray every day. I go to the mosque. I surround myself with spiritual people. I try to do good to my citizens, to my subjects. Surely that desire will go away, that desire to enjoy somebody else." And the Brahmin said, "No, it will not go away." Anyhow, they had a disagreement. Some days later, the Brahmin said to the king that one of your ministers, very old man, is dying. They were going to see this dying man on his deathbed. So the Brahmin said, my dear king, when you come to see your dying friend, bring your young daughter with you. He had a very beautiful young daughter. And when you walk in the room, observe the dying man's eyes and tell me what you think. So they came into the house of the dying man. They came into the bedroom. And as they walked in, when the beautiful young princess walked into the room, the old man's eyes opened and he breathed in and he became encouraged. So Akbar could see. He understood. Afterwards he told the Brahmin, I've seen. So that man is in his dying bed, but seeing a beautiful young woman gave him life. So you never become free from sex desire. The only way to become free is for Krishna to clean your heart. We should pray every day to Krishna, please Srimati Radharani, purify my heart. Clean me from this propensity to cheat against you. Clean me from this propensity to enjoy your property without your permission. So, Shrimvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. When you hear Krishna Katha, or how Krishna acts, on which platform he acts, with what qualities he acts, Punya Shravana. It is pious to hear, Punya, pious, Shravana, to hear, Kirtana, and to repeat. Why? Riddhi antashtoya bhadrani, all that which is abhadra, which is inauspicious within the heart, riddhi antashta, in the center of the heart, vidunoti surit satam. Krishna will purify you. Vidunoti means you will shake it. Krishna, he knows how to shake our tree. We may be holding on to the tree of material enjoyment, but if we hear and chant the glories of Krishna, we become free from this attachment to this material tree, and by the shaking of the arrangements of Krishna, we abandon this material tree and enter into the real Kalpavriksha, the real wish-desiring tree of the spiritual world, which is personified by Madhavendra Puri. But we'll talk about him next week. Thank you very much for your participation. We have 4 comments from Atmavidya Prabhu, humble obeisance to the Vaishnavas, and Jean-Paul Burgess, Dandavat Pranam, beautiful class, thank you. Thank you for hearing. And Mandy Priya from Cambridge, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to you. Thank you for participating, and we will continue on Friday. Jai.